What up, what up, what up? Thank you for joining us once again for another smoke session. I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
Boy, Black Hand. Brother Los on the cam.
And we are the Daily Smoke. Thank you as always. This is a smoke session where we sit around, have conversations, talk about
Every fucking thing.
everything.
Everything?
All the stuff, everything.
Everything entertainment.
But it's really more just a conversation about things we like, the movies and TV shows and the books we read and the comics we read and all of that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where we, as homeboys who've been friends for years,
30, 100 million.
we get to sit here and have an interesting conversation with y'all.
Before I go on,
Yes, my good friend.
by the time this airs,
It's gonna be like already forgotten.
I
But
don't give a shit.
we are filming this on my boy's Bobby, my boy Bobby's 50th birthday weekend.
Thank
So I want to acknowledge my boy B. Couldn't imagine doing this with a better cat. This is the dude who has had my back for years, for decades. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, dude, you have my back the
Hey.
same way.
To friendship, my brother.
And also to my
Los.
boy Los over there on the camera. Los and Los.
The madman, the
And
mad
also,
scientist himself.
And also Mr. Ron Johnson. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Take your sip, nigga, so we can close the toast.
You know,
We're
nigga sad.
gonna still be thanking people.
But really, right now,
Thank
that
you
comes on when like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, pretty
So-
much.
So just so they know, we're doing this on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, so we're actually filming
His
this on
birthday
Memorial
was
Day
on
weekend.
Friday.
Yeah, but
27th, thank you.
Yep. So if you didn't watch the TGIF on the 27th,
go back and check it out. It was fun,
Yeah, we
for
got
Bobby's
drunk.
birthday, man. Yeah, they got drunk on camera. I'm glad I missed it.
No, I didn't get drunk.
Okay, well,
We were drinking.
Ron and Dex,
South Park Sterling.
Ron and Dex got drunk. We'll
got
say
drunk.
that. So, and Ron, I hope your tummy feel better by the time this video airs. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
What's up, bro?
But yeah, man. Okay. So as y'all know, we've been doing our catch up on Marvel shows. And next in line, of course, is gonna be the Marvel What If show.
Of course.
Okay,
Explain it for me.
so back in the day, Marvel basically decided to come up with this idea of doing these offshoot comic books. A lot of times they were just one-off issues,
Yeah.
But they would take a scenario, change one point in history in a character who you are familiar with, life or history, and see how that would affect the rest of that character's life.
A true what if this point got taken out this point and
And this is when Marvel really started kind of cementing the idea of a multiverse in their comics. And so, because all of these what ifs were being presented in such a way that they were not just ideas that the writers were throwing out, they were actually events that would happen in an alternate timeline because they were being narrated by a character called the Watcher. If you could hop to number 3 for me, Los.
explain the Watcher to me.
I forgot his name. Dang it.
I didn't know he had a name.
Yeah, he has a name. It's like you watch.
He did have a name.
Yeah, it's Uwata or Uwatra or something like that. I've forgotten now. But he has.
Watcher.
Yeah,
He's just Watcher. That's
yeah,
like,
but he's the Watcher. And so basically, you learn as the Watcher narrates the what if tales that he is basically a being who exists outside of the multiverse. So he can see all of these different possibilities.
yeah.
And so him telling the what if stories, well, of course, as even on the comic, on the one we chose for number 2, it says, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four?
This one I actually want to read in front of me.
You know what I'm saying?
If you look at the picture, it's not. You don't see the 4, you see the 5.
Right.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
But that's the kind of possibilities that the what if scenarios would present to you. So something at one point in the story of Spider-Man caused him to join up with the Fantastic Four, and then what would happen after that? And for me, this as a child, like when I first started reading comic books, and I've stumbled across my first what if comic, which was actually what if Wolverine became Lord of the Vampires.
I have not read that one, but
Fun story. If you ever get the chance, read it. If you like Wolverine, you will love that version of how that story plays out. I'm not gonna do it a disservice by trying to tell you about it. But okay, but it made me think of possibilities as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It made me view choices and decisions differently as a kid, because it made me start to realize how the slight little difference in one thing could change the path of my life. Even things that I don't think of as being big or significant.
Left or right, up or down.
You know, that whole philosophical question. But I say all that to say I just always thought it was a brilliant idea for Marvel to go down this path. And then for them to, as a part of this phase 4 of the MCU and the series that they've been doing on Disney Plus, for them to decide to go down this path as a part of that storytelling, it's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
We got introduced to the idea of the multiverse in WandaVision. Then Loki went and busted the fucking multiverse wide open because he destroyed the sacred timeline. And then you follow that up with What If as a broad introduction to this audience who's never been introduced to the multiverse concept. You get them to the point where now they're understanding what the fuck that means. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a literal example of, okay, now we have a multiverse, and this is what that looks like.
In that one over there, Captain America is something like this.
In another one, Doctor Strange did some shady shit. In another, you know what I'm saying? Okay,
but let's go to
just a regular doctor.
No, if you could pull up number, I believe number 4.
Yeah, number 4.
This is your introduction to the What If. This one is Captain America with Steve Rogers. Instead of him becoming Captain America, what was her name?
What if Peggy Carter
became
Captain Britain? It was Captain Carter. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? It was the title of the episode. And so basically, in that scenario, you have it where instead of Steve Rogers getting injected with the super soldier serum, something happens where he winds up not being able to get injected, and she has to step up, or the entire project is lost. Mm-hmm. So she decides to take the injection, and she becomes a female Captain America, but because she's not an American soldier, she's a British agent, she becomes Captain Carter, or Captain Britain.
I only had one problem with that.
What's that?
They pretty much just took her face and put it on Captain America's body.
I ain't gonna lie.
The machine did that to her.
But you know what though?
That's the...
But you know what though? Okay. Here's the thing I said about the whole Captain Carter thing. Like, okay.
No, I didn't say it was wrong, but it's like... Wow.
No, all I'm saying is, okay, I'm not usually like into muscular chicks. Nothing against them. It's just not my thing. Hey, there's plenty of guys who find you beautiful, but honestly, the way that they did Captain Carter, I could get down with her. She and that's okay. Death by snoo, nigga. I will take it.
You know what I'm saying?
What? Shit. I will take it. Break my pelvis, goddammit.
Yeah, like, go wash them dishes. What you gonna do? Wash them damn dishes.
Yeah, I'll be. Look. What is it? I'll be the I can't even think of it. Oh man,
I'd be slapping me around and calling me Susan.
right. I'd be the brat. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, make me.
You know, you wanna,
And then she just take a step forward. Okay, baby.
Like, shit, she can manhandle me.
what they doing in that house? over
But
there?
okay, so so number 5, just like in the Captain America movie, you know how he has that iconic scene where after he frees his partners from the prison, you know, Bucky and all of them, he gets them free. He walks into the room with the shield high, the guns blazing, and everybody's got his back. And they basically did a scene like that. They mirrored that scene in the Captain Carter animated version. Man,
but no, who was she fighting?
she was still going after Hydra. Because Hydra still had
Who was fucking around in those days anyway?
in the beginning. Yeah, she
They weren't just fucking with us. They were the whole world.
Well, Hydra was working with the Nazis, but the Nazis thought they was working for them, but they was just using the Nazis. So Hydra was actually a bigger organization than the Nazi Germany.
They were not.
But that's why if you drop down to 6, you had Steve Rogers did play a part in this. And you got to remember that the guy who came up with the whole super soldier serum and all of that was Tony Stark's dad. And so he wound up coming up with what they called it, the Hydra Stomper suit.
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with your Iron Man history, looks remarkably like the suit that the Mach 1.
Yeah, the Mach 1
that Tony Stark built when he was in that cave in Afghanistan.
Daddy already had plans for it.
Right.
He
Just remember when he was following around Daddy's death, he just saw him one day. Remember?
So we wind up with the Hydra Stomper suit, which I thought was cool, and the way they ended her, because just like Steve Rogers, she winds up being MIA for 70 or so years before they figure out how to summon her back. And then
bring her back. I want to say, did they summon her?
No, because they had to open that portal to where the thing was.
That's right.
So they was able to finally summon her back from there, and then let her know that 70 years had passed, and of course, just like her, Steve Rogers had grown old and all of that. But she had fallen in love with it.
The first thing I would ask is, how much gas now?
When they're giving a shit. Like, nigga, I just came back from fighting the monster for the last 70 years. But, okay, so we're going to move on to episode number 2, which is, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? Now, this one, when I heard about it before it actually came out, I was like, what? But when I watched it, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, man. It was like, okay, so the character in Guardians of the Galaxy, Peter Quill, right? The one who's currently Star-Lord, played by, what's his name? Dang it.
Oh, crap.
His name, I know, it's right on our tongue, man.
Yeah,
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, thank you, my brother. I knew it was a Chris something, but I couldn't think of the last name. Okay, so we all know Peter Quill, played by Chris Pratt in the Guardians of the Galaxy. So in that scenario, of course, Yondu came to Earth to kidnap the kid, to take him to his father, Ego.
Ego, the living planet, which is what, a celestial, I believe.
Yeah. So instead of grabbing Peter Quill, his crewman really fucked up the job and wind up grabbing young T'Challa from Wakanda.
Wakanda forever.
So, and T'Challa at that age just so happened to want to run away from home, and he ran into these aliens who was offering to take him. So
convenient.
He basically went and, lived and grew up in space, traveling with the Ravagers. But unlike Peter Quill,
I like the Ravagers. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Of course. But unlike Peter Quill, where Peter Quill had these imaginings of greatness, T'Challa was actually that nigga. You know what I'm saying? they made him where he was actually legendary. So much so to the point where one I can't think of that African actor's name that plays the part in the movie, but you know where he's like, where Star-Lord introduces himself and he's like, I'm Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And he's like, am I supposed to have heard of you? Like, where they copy that scene in the T'Challa episode, and that dude knows who he's like, oh my God, you're Star-Lord. You're the great, Robert Prince and all of this. He's like a fan,
A fanboy out. Like,
oh, that shit was hilarious, dude, because he was like, every place he went, he was like, Star-Lord, oh shit. Where Peter Quill was hoping people would know who he actually was. T'Challa had made an actual name for himself. Right?
Hey, that's what you want to be.
But I thought that was cool. Yeah, you get to see him with the Ravagers, and then he winds up getting captured by the Collector.
That'll be number 9 for you, love.
But he winds up getting captured by the Collector, and he has to fight his way out of the Collector's collection because he's actually collected as a rarity. And in that process...
Yeah, actually, I like the Collector because I'm going by the Guardians of the Galaxy, that one scene. Where they had Howard the Duck in the Collector's collection. Yeah. So, and other little nods, like the Cosmos, the Russian dog that was sent to space.
Yeah.
They came back with superhuman, they can telepathically talk to you, but was genius level. But go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
I'm just like, yeah. I like the Collector.
But yeah, it's an interesting character because he's powerful enough to be a threat to people like Thanos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People like Thanos, like, even though Thanos is a bad dude, he don't really want to cross the Collector. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting because in this version of their universe, because T'Challa had been Star-Lord, he had actually gotten Thanos off of his murderous kick. He convinced Thanos that his plan wasn't the right one. You know what I'm saying?
It's good.
And Thanos was running a bar, but he was cool with it because he was like, "Dog, you really talked me out. Like, you talked me out of some crazy shit. Like, nigga, yeah."
Okay, that's where they get that from.
And I have to give a nod, number 10, Los, to the man himself. Chadwick Boseman, to know, man, that he played these parts, and it was his actual voice as T'Challa in that episode of What If, but to know that he played these parts while he was extremely sick with cancer, and he kept this strong face up for the public, even though your boy was going through some really difficult times with his health at the time.
Rest in peace.
Nod to the man, and nod to the hero that he remains even after that he's gone. You know what I'm saying? That is a prime example of what we strive to be as black men, as men in general, but as black men specifically. I think he represents just about everything that I think we can aspire to. Yeah. So a nod to the brother Chadwick Boseman. You are missed, you are loved, and hopefully wherever you are, you do understand that we appreciate and miss you. But okay, so on to the next episode, which was, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? And
that's a good one.
This one was dark.
Yeah.
This one was really, really dark.
This is why I kind of want to see them.
But so if you're familiar with the Doctor Strange movie, in the beginning of the movie, he's in a bad car wreck, and he's a neurosurgeon, and in that car wreck, his hands become badly damaged, so much so to the point where he can't perform the delicate surgery that he had built his career on.
That's the regular Doctor.
That's the regular Doctor Who.
But
in this What If, instead of having physical damage to his hands, he loses the woman he loves. He has to basically watch her die. And so in that, he starts pursuing interest in the mystic arts to try to find out if there's some way to bring her back. And he gets to a point where he's considering using the Eye of Agamemnon to try to rewind time to bring her back.
I'm not even trying to put the damn standard.
And this is where you reach a point of divergence. So essentially, in the way it should have gone, of course, is that he should have chosen to not try it. But in the version that we see, he actually does go ahead and starts trying it. And it leads him down a path of darkness and insanity. Essentially, what he finds out is that his woman's death is what they call
a fixed point in time,
fixed event. She has to die
No matter what.
for him to become the sorcerer supreme. And so, if she doesn't die, he can't become the sorcerer supreme and rewind time to save her. You see what I'm saying? So it's a paradox.
Yeah.
You can't stop her death and still have the power to stop her death.
Yeah, it's like Mary having Jesus. So that's a fixed point.
So you can't, and everybody tells him this. Everybody explains this to him. You can't do this. You can't do this. If you do this, it will destroy or unmake the universe. Like, this is just one of those things you can't do. But he eventually finds a book that teaches him how to do it. He eventually finds a book that teaches him how to do it. And what he winds up learning is that he has to absorb more power from magical creatures, and that could be everything from mystical creatures to gods, to demons or anything like that. So what he starts doing, and he spends from what they glance over in the show, they say it, but they glance over it. He spent a couple of 100 years absorbing things for power.
Yeah, that's the one I actually did. This is the episode I have not watched. So, it's huge.
You didn't watch Doctor Strange one?
This is the best one.
Is that him sucking up all that energy?
That's okay. So so basically, there winds up being two versions of him. I'm not finna go into how that winds up happening. It's complicated.
Yeah, I got spoiled. So,
but there winds up being two versions of him: the version that chose the path of darkness and the version that didn't. And so what this is when the version that didn't got absorbed by the version that did. This is what he saw on the inside of the other version of himself. That's how dark his soul had become. It basically looks like hell inside of him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I thought that was a pretty powerful image.
That's a good metaphor.
Dude, it was like, okay, because he had absorbed. And the cool part about it is every time he would absorb a different creature, he would take on some of the physical characteristics of that creature.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, like, at one point, he absorbs this 3-headed dragon thing, and his face turns into like a dragonoid, kind of humanoid dragon face. It's cool. It's really, and then the way it ends.
Spoil it for me.
You sure?
I'm going to watch it.
Don't spoil it.
Spoilers do
Well,
not hurt.
hey, we spoiled it.
Yeah, spoilers do not hurt.
Okay.
The way it ends,
So the way it ends is he actually winds up doing it. He winds up saving her. But the instant he saves her, you start seeing black smoke coming off of everything.
Okay, that's what I saw in some of the little
People, buildings, and everything. And basically, the universe is unmaking itself, including her.
So that's the little tip I saw in this place.
And so he winds up instantly understanding at that point, like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this. No shit, motherfucker.
Go back.
And so as everything is coming to the universe is basically like literally collapsing in on him, he starts using up the last of his power to hold it off. And as he's trying to do this, he's begging for like somebody to help him, and that's when he notices the Watcher, and he's like, "Oh, you there? You can stop this. You can do something about it. You can help me." And he was like, "Nah, dude, I can't help you. I observe. I don't interfere." And see, that's the thing about the Watcher, is he's not supposed to get involved. He is only supposed to observe. And give you a little backstory on the Watcher real quick. So he comes from a race of beings that are essentially like outside of our multiverse. They exist outside of our multiverse, and they're an extremely advanced and powerful race. Like in our world, in our universe, they would be considered like God level entities. Kind of like, if you want to think about it, maybe in more realistic terms, maybe like celestial level entities, something like that. But pretty damn powerful. So they, of course, being outside the multiverse, realized that they could help with their advanced technology a lot of these primitive races and stuff like that.
There's more of them.
Yes, yeah. There's a whole race.
One.
He's not the only one.
Okay.
And so
each one watches over their own.
They basically helped this alien race by providing them with technology. The problem was that the technology that they gave them, they instantly turned it into like weapons in war, and the race wound up wiping itself out.
Humans.
It wasn't humans, but the race wound up wiping itself out with the technology that the Watchers race gave them. And so that's why the Watchers don't interfere. They are only supposed to observe.
The prime directive for the Enterprise, right? You know, we don't interfere in lower level. Like, you're just gonna do your thing. We're just gonna watch it. Kind of effed up, but still.
So Doctor Strange notices the Watcher as his universe is dying, and he asks the Watcher for help, and the Watcher's like, "Nah, dude, I can't help you." He's like, "You were warned. You were told. You were told this was gonna happen, and you went ahead and did it anyway." He was like, "But," and he was like, "Yeah, no buts, but have fun with your eternity."
But you wanted that pussy more than anything else.
And he basically left him in a tiny little. His universe wound up getting condensed down to a crystal, and it was just him in it by himself. So he was the only thing left.
That's crazy. That's torment for the rest of your life.
Oh, I wanted to ask about the episode Zombies.
Oh shit.
If that's number 14, though. Yeah, I want to talk about the zombies. Huh?
Okay. See, okay.
I don't remember this.
Okay.
This is the episode I hated.
Hey, you gotta talk about.
I mean, I got no problem talking about it, but I just didn't like it.
What was the beef about?
Okay. Long story short, so we all know the part in Ant-Man where they go down to the the quantum realm, to get Michelle Pfeiffer, when they rescued her from the quantum realm or whatever. Well, in this version, she had been down there and got infected by what they called a quantum virus that did something to her mind and basically turned her into what appears to be a zombie, but it's not really a zombie.
Zombie-ish. Zombie-ish.
Well, in the on the cover, that's actually Hawkeye.
So what if Hawkeye was a zombie?
Well, what if the episode is what if zombies?
Oh, okay.
And so that was just but he was just the one on the cover. So, but basically, you wind up having this zombie virus that spreads throughout the entire world. And the problem is that when the Avengers came in to try to help, they all got infected.
Dummies.
And the problem with this virus is because it's not an actual zombie virus. When a person with powers becomes one of these zombies, they apparently can still use their powers. So you have a zombie Captain America who still carries his shield and uses it and all of this kind of stuff. You have a zombie Doctor Strange who's still casting spells and doing magic and
Zombie
shit.
everybody.
You got zombie fucking
Is it Zombie Hulk?
well actually, okay, so that's how the episode starts, is you see it's basically Hulk coming back from Sakaar, from Thor Ragnarok, right? So this is when he comes back to Earth to let them know that Thanos is coming. Okay, so but when he just so happens to come back to Earth and this zombie apocalypse is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember in that movie, at one point when he first came back, like he wanted to change into the Hulk, but the Hulk wouldn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the same problem he was having there. He was trying to change into the Hulk because the zombies were coming after him, but the Hulk didn't want to come out. So what wound up happening is, and it was just to me. It's not fair. Fuck that, man. It's not fair.
What?
If you a zombie, then you should not be able to use your fucking superpowers no more.
What?
You a zombie.
What?
You're not human anymore.
You got no intelligence.
Got the reflexes.
You just leave that shield behind and you just start walking.
Right.
What? But it's a what?
You
if.
might still have it because
It'll
it's
be that
strapped.
off.
Yeah, because it's strapped to your arm, but it'll eventually fall
You
off.
know, you're not gonna be there like.
I've seen zombie movies where the zombies actually have
So-
some intelligence. So they still may be.
Okay, so spoiler on this one. I'm gonna cut to the chase, right? So we get they find a signal that tells them, oh, okay, we've been doing some research and we might have a cure for the zombie plague. So of course they try to get to it, and they eventually get to it. They lose a few people along the way, and when they finally make it to this base where they are, it's like the zombies won't attack this base. They stay away from it, and when they get inside, they realize it's Vision. Something about the Mind Stone that's, of course, a part of Vision.
Sorry for laughing.
Is keeping, like, the zombies don't like it. They stay away from it.
Yeah.
And so he's been using that to try to
bug
fix.
sap.
That's funny. Follow the yellow light. No.
Zombies.
But he uses that as a basis to try to formulate a cure. And you wind up seeing Ant-Man's head that has been turned back from zombification. So, but you also find out that Vision is keeping a secret because Wanda got bit.
Yep.
And she turned, of course. And he's been keeping her alive by feeding her regular people. And just so happens when they find
That's that
him,
love. That's that
they
love.
find this nigga had captured T'Challa and had cut off T'Challa's leg to feed to Wanda.
That's that love.
No, that pussy was good.
I wonder if it was good still as a zombie.
You know?
Damn.
Was it all?
Well, he trying to find
Was
out.
it all like gangrenish looking?
But the fucked up part was she could still use her powers. So she was a zombie reality altering bitch.
Right.
And so that was
The Scarlet Bitch.
the picture I chose.
The zombie Scarlet Bitch. Speaking of.
So yeah, that okay. We'll go on because that episode I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. So okay, number 17, Los, is what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? So of course we're back to the beginning of Iron Man, when Tony Stark was in Afghanistan. The missile goes off and he gets shrapnel in his body. Blah 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 blah. We know how that story goes. Well, instead of all that happening, Killmonger, who was in the military, mind you, he was a part of the U.S. military.
Yep.
He shows up, saves Tony Stark from the attack that was going on, and instead of Tony Stark becoming Iron Man, Tony Stark winds up making Killmonger his business partner. Now
That was good. But
we find out, of course, that Killmonger is like genius level smart, on top of being an amazing fighter, soldier, and all of that kind of stuff. Number 18, Los. And what winds up happening is basically he runs a scam on Tony Stark. he convinces Tony Stark that he wants to try and help him, but really, what he's trying to do is get Tony Stark to design some tech and get back that's going to help him get back at Wakanda. Because just like in the actual movie, he knows who his father was. He knows who his father killed, who killed his father.
He's still held in,
and he wants to get his revenge on Wakanda, but he wants to reclaim his birthright first because he is
the next
royal family. He's a member of the royal family of Wakanda. His dad was the king's brother. So, and with and in this one, he winds up actually killing T'Challa. I forgot about that part. Yeah, when I rewatched it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, he does kill him. So that was kind of messed up to watch. But yeah, he winds up killing.
I was just before you said, I was actually like, yeah, I remember they killed.
So in 19, he's the king of Wakanda.
In 19, right there, he's been accepted back into the family because he proved himself that he was there to fight with Wakanda. But his plan was he was going to kill the king soon, and but he was at the end where it ended. The king had just asked him to become the new Black Panther, so he had just drank the juice from the purple flower to get the powers. So now he was going to have the powers of, he was going to be Killmonger, but he was going to have the powers of Black Panther.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Killmonger Panther Black.
Killmonger.
There you go. That nigga. Okay, so then we jump to the next episode, which was what if Thor was an only child?
Oh, that was actually this one.
I thought this one was kind of cool. It was fun.
It was,
like in the fight between him and Captain Marvel. That was actually pretty cool. I don't really give a shit about the character of Captain Marvel in the MCU, but that made me like the character more.
Okay.
But basically, we know, of course, Thor has a famous brother, Loki. And Loki was an ice giant from Jotunheim who was adopted by Odin after a battle. He basically found a young ice giant infant after this fight, and who parents, presumably Odin had just had a hand in killing. Yeah. But he decided to take this orphan in and raise him as a son, and that's how Loki became Loki. Oh, wow. Well, in this universe, instead of taking the baby in, Odin just turned him back over to the ice giants. And he was raised by his own people.
There you go. So, baby.
Thor grew up as an only child without his mischievous brother to help him be a little more thoughtful and a little more appreciative of his position.
He became a spoiled brat.
Became a spoiled fucking party boy.
Right.
A frat boy. That's what I call him. He's just
ain't that how they name? Like he was a college dude. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Drunk. He came down to Earth in Vegas to party for his birthday.
Hey.
But his parties attract all sorts of aliens, and so they was partying on Earth and like destroying the place in the process. These niggas knocked over bridges. They tore the Loki in this one is still an ice giant, but he shows up to the party and he turns the St. Louis Ark. They try to make it into the world's biggest slingshot. Yes. So like
what
shit like that. But he does meet Jane Foster, and they do start a relationship, and so she kind of helps him rein in his wild party boy ways,
taming him
somewhat. But it was a cute story. It was light on action, except for the one main fight. But it was
the storyline. Well,
it was entertaining, and it was just showing that everything about the What If series doesn't have to be doom and gloom and dark.
Right.
It was, could be funny shit, and so that was
actually be. A single kid, single brat. He still has the power as Thor. He's just a punk ass.
Yeah, he just grew up by himself. I ain't got nobody to play with, just me. Hey, what's up? And then I'm rich. Shit.
So number 23, Los. Now, this is where they went back and took a dark fucking turn, okay? So, what if Ultron won? Okay. So we all know we all saw Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And Ultron was creating the body of Vision that eventually becomes Vision as an alternate vessel for himself. The idea was that he was going to download himself into that body to become a more perfect version of himself. Okay. But of course, in the movie, the Avengers capture that body, combine it with the Mind Stone and Jarvis, and you get the character we now know as Vision.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vision.
But in this version, the Avengers don't capture the pod that was holding Vision's body. Ultron gets to download himself into that body, and he becomes a force to be fucking reckoned with.
Oh Lord.
And he basically destroys the entire Avengers team. And then he's on his way to conquering Earth. And as he's in that process, guess who shows up? Thanos. Thanos fucking shows up with his Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah,
because he wants to get the Mind Stone from Vision. The minute this nigga appeared, Vision instantly split him down the middle with a beam from that gem in his head, and then looked at the Infinity Stones on that nigga's gauntlet. Was like,
I'll take those.
Those seem interesting. And as soon as he picked them up, it's like he went like, oh, and then armor started forming around his body, and he wound up becoming, and the gems placed themselves on his chest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
He turned his whole body basically into an Infinity Gauntlet.
When Thanos knew he fucked up.
Like, Thanos was literally on screen for like 5 seconds, and that nigga was dead. Like, Vision, I say Vision, but he was Ultron, really.
Yeah.
Ultron being a machine didn't waste no time. He just killed him. You know, took them damn Infinity Stones, and then that's when that nigga realized, okay, because you have to remember, Ultron's plan was that the only way to protect life was to end all life. That was what Ultron wanted to do. So he wanted to try to take out all life on Earth. Well, in this process, once he got into the Vision body, he was able to do that. And once he got the Infinity Stones, he realized not only did he have the ability to do that on his world, he had the ability now the power to do that on all worlds.
Any world.
So this fool went on a rampage throughout his universe, literally destroying all life he could find. And he succeeds. He literally wipes out all life in his universe.
Fucked up.
And it was so quiet because there was no life that when the Watcher started narrating part of his life, he could hear him.
That's funny.
He literally heard the Watcher speaking from outside the multiverse, and he was like, "Who are you?" And when he realized that there was somebody out there with the power of his Infinity Stones, this fool learned how to get out of his universe and into the spaces in between the multiverse where the Watcher lives.
It's fucking Ultron, dude. Mixed with Vision.
Dude, that shit
With
was
the Infinity Stones.
that
Shit.
shit was so cold. And
You got a sentient machine. It's always learning.
him and the Watcher get into this fight, and dude, when I'm telling you, the Watcher was put. He
tried.
Ultron eventually won. Yeah. The Watcher had to run, but the Watcher put up a damn good fight. I had no idea he was wielding that kind of power. He stood up toe to toe with fucking Ultra.
Super Ultron.
Super Ultron War Gauntlet.
Yeah, like Super Ultron. Shit, fuck it.
Ultra Vision.
Mega Ultron Vision.
Vision Stone.
Unite.
So yeah, he took that fight. You know, he actually
I got
put
hands,
up a
baby.
decent damn fight for
I got
him.
hands, baby, but right now.
So that leads us into the final episode of the series, which is what if the Watcher broke his oath?
Mm-hmm.
So after being attacked by Mega Ultron, he basically realizes that he can't stop this threat on his own. because now it's not just a threat to one universe;
Yeah.
it's a threat
To
to the
all.
entire multiverse. Because Ultron wants to wipe out all life throughout
Everywhere.
all universes, and so he's basically recruits a team. First person he goes to, the Dark Doctor Strange, who was stuck in the crystal that we saw from the previous What If episode.
Uh-huh.
He also winds up getting Gamora. It was Gamora, Thor, T'Challa as Star-Lord. Okay, hold on. The picture on my phone is small. Killmonger.
Hawkeye.
And no, he didn't get Hawkeye.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something different.
Hawkeye zombie.
Black Widow, and Captain Carter. And this team is Guardians of the Multiverse. And so they come up with a plan to try to stop Mega Ultron from basically wiping out all life in the universe. They try to get the Infinity Stones from him to cut his power level down.
Yeah.
So eventually what winds up happening, and it's a bit of a convoluted plan. Just know that going into it. It's fun, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. So just understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually what winds up happening is they do actually wind up defeating him. The way they do it is, okay, and okay, this is where me being a completionist pays off. So if you haven't watched everything, you might not know.
This is what I'm leaning forward.
Right, you might not know where the hell this comes from. But okay, in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., okay, you had the Hydra, the organization Hydra, essentially wind up turning one of the scientists who helped create the super soldier serum and all of that stuff from back in the Nazi days.
Yeah.
They wind up converting him into a AI. His brain gets downloaded into a computer. But this is a computer from like back in the 80s, so everything is
still kind of.
He's on like cathode ray tube display screens and shit. So basically, they go to this AI, and they tell him, "Hey, this computer, like this artificial intelligent life form is taking over the world, and we need you to help stop him." So they download him onto basically a flash drive Arrow from Hawkeye. And then they use that Arrow on the Megavision, and the personality of this AI downloads into Vision's mind and shuts him down. And while the body's offline, Killmonger manages to get the Infinity Stones. And that's where you get to number 28, Los.
Yes, please explain that, sir.
Dude, Killmonger basically got the Infinity Stones and said, "Oh, I now not only am I Black Panther, but I am Black Panther with all 5 Infinity Stones." Or, 5. So, dude, he was ready to just conquer universes. But
wouldn't you?
The Hydra AI program, I forgot his name, the character's name.
Yeah, with the deep
German.
But
who was now running Vision's body, was basically like, "Nah, those Infinity Stones is mine." And before Killmonger could really like wield the power all that well, him and Lesser Vision, Lesser Ultron start fighting over the Infinity Stones, and they wind up it winds up being Doctor Strange, who, just like the crystal that he was imprisoned in, imprisons them into a crystal because they're locked in a battle
against each other
for these Infinity Stones. But now that they're locked away in this crystal, they don't pose a threat to anybody, I guess, anymore.
They're just gonna fight it forever.
So Doctor Strange winds up going back to his prison, essentially, but now he has prisoners to keep track of while he's there.
I'm not bored.
So
I got my TV now. I'm not bored.
That's what it winds up being. But I mean, like I said, I like the what if as a concept, the idea of what if as a concept, because it makes you think about the characters you know. It makes you see them in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you understand how their powers could be used differently in some cases, and things that you might not see them do in the main universe, but you realize they have the capacity to do it. They just haven't realized they can do it, or they haven't been put in a situation where they've had to use their power that way in the main universe. Like, imagine, take if you will, something like Katara from Avatar and her blood bending. She didn't realize, she knew she was a powerful waterbender, but she didn't realize she could blood bend until she came in contact with somebody else who could do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then once she could do it, she realized how powerful she actually was. So it's one of those kind of scenarios.
I just like the what if and just the concept of just what if. Because even before we did the show, it was like, what if this vampire or this, or we were just thinking just different scenarios. So this is why I love the show.
We might actually take that as a concept for the show, man. We could pose some what if questions and things we might want to talk about on the show. What y'all think? You know,
what if this?
If you like that as an idea for some discussions we could have about different kinds of scenarios, not only hit the thumbs up, but put a comment down below and let us know some of the things you might like for us to talk about. We'd appreciate it. And hey, if you want to know what's going on with us as far as the Daily Smoke, what we're going to be talking about, what's coming up, what guests we're going to be having on the main shows on Mondays and Wednesdays, or what topics we might be talking about on the smoke sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays, check out the website, www.thedailysmoke.com. That's THA, dailysmoke.com. Please do that. Everything you need to know is on the website. Is on the show.
All right.
But everything you need to know is on the website. And if you go on the website and you think you want to join us on the show, you want to give us a topic or episode idea, go on the website, please. There's a place on there where you can submit it and let us know. Have you been experienced? Look for that link and click on there. Put in your information, and hey, we will definitely reach back out to you. Because what do we call it? The People's Podcast. We need you to help us find out what you want to talk about.
Yes,
so
yes.
Let us know. But also, if you want to donate to the show, $ TD Smoke is the Cash App. So please, we appreciate anything you might be willing to give. We've had a few donations recently. We want to thank everybody who has taken money out of their pocket, especially in an economy like what we're dealing with right now. Everybody who's taking the time out to put some money into our pockets, man, we really appreciate it. We promise you, everything you give us goes towards this show. So thank you for all of y'all who have donated before, and hopefully we'll see more donations in the future. Remember, $ TD Smoke on Cash App. But hey, I think we're gonna wrap it up for this evening, man. We still got some good things coming up for you, so hopefully y'all gonna keep watching. But I'm gonna go ahead and let it go.
Hopefully they watched all the episodes up to this one.
Go back and watch them. And if you find them interesting, tell your friends, man. All I ask is that you hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe. Even if you can't donate or do anything like that, do those 3 for us, and that's just the same as giving us a donation, because we much appreciate it. But I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
And I'm your boy, Black Hand.
Brother Los on the cam.
And we are the Daily Smoke. Thank you for joining us on the Smoke Sessions. We love you. We're out. Peace.
Peace. Wait time.